Yes.
Just based on what you've done there now, would it be fair to say that if you're in balance, fully in harmony, fully balanced, that for the example we said sugar was an impurity of balance. If you're balanced and fully in full strength, is it possible that you could basically take something poisonous and that's gone to the extreme?
Here's the thing. If you are fully in balance, that means you're not taking in a lot of poisons. So I live by an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you do things that are really healthy and really good for you. Then your body can take care of the 20% of the time when you have sweetener. You free? So, and when you're in that 80% of the time, the desire to have something poisonous like that, like she was saying, you know, if I was taking a walk every day and observing things, I probably wouldn't want it. That becomes very true. You start to respect what you have, and you're really conscious and aware of what you're putting into your body, who you're surrounding yourself with, what your self-talk is, what the people are saying around you, what you're choosing to read and listen to via TV, movies, things like that. When you're completely aware of all of that, you're going to want to be more of that 80%. I myself, when I tell my clients, a lot of people come in because they have a lot of health problems. And I see people who have cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's, you name it. And a lot of times they've gotten to that place because of something they've done with their diet or emotions that they've stuffed. A lot of resentment, a lot of anger, or a lot of processed foods. I mean, there's the whole gamut. And the first thing I tell them, because they will want to say, I don't want to give up everything. I don't want to live like totally healthy and be unhappy. It's not about that. I love my chocolate. I love my glass of wine. Every now and then, I'll have a Coke. This is like the worst thing I can drink, but I have it once in a while. And that's not for me today, by the way. That was to use as a demo to show you how bad it is. But you learn to know your body so well that when you're in balance and you go to have that sweet and low or whatever in your tea, it just doesn't taste good because your body will just kick it back. You'll want to make your choices differently. And going down the whole route of the physical, a lot of people here and back home are, they're just ill. There's a lot of illness and disease and people who just don't have energy. And a lot of people are battling different things. And Western medicine has made this system to where you have an illness, your first thought is what drug, what surgery, what doctor can I go to? And they take care of the symptoms, but they never look at the whole person. You know, you come to an alternative practitioner or a holistic doctor or a holistic practitioner, what they're going to ask you is, what is your diet like? What occupies your mind most of the time? What do you do for your spiritual health? What do you do for your emotional health? You know, if somebody comes in and tells me that they've had insomnia. How long have you had insomnia? 3 years. What happened 3 years ago? Well, I don't know. My dad died. Like, okay, well, let's explore that. Because the drugs aren't working. They're taking all these, they're taking Ambien, they're taking, you know, antidepressants. They're numbing their bodies so that they can't actually feel what's going on. And through kinesiology, I mean, you guys have seen today how accurate it can be when you can tell if somebody's weak and when somebody's not. I'm always doing this because I feel like I'm pressing down on somebody's arm. Somebody who doesn't know me would be like, that one was just really whacked. But so kinesiology is I'm finding out what's going on in your body. I'm just the interpreter. I don't know the end-all be-all, but I can tell you through interpretation what your body's trying to tell you. You know, if you've got XYZ symptoms, and we know that you've lost your dad, or you have this constant self-talk of, you know, I can't do anything, or I hate my job. Does anybody in here hate their job? Oh my goodness.
Okay. First.
Dislike your job? Yeah. You dislike your job?
No, I love it.
Oh, okay. But nobody dislikes their job? Wow.
You need to come to Ireland more often. See?
Nobody. You know how many people raise their hands in my other demos? I mean, it's like one person won't have their hand up. That is just unbelievable. I just got a surge of energy from that.
I think it's because of the room you're in. You're amongst people that want to be here.
Yeah.
You're in the living room.
Well, actually back home I'm in a room full of people that want to be there too, but most everybody, not most everybody, a lot of people just do what needs to be done to make ends meet. And so their life, I mean, most of their life is spent around work, but they're doing something that they hate to do. And so they're constantly sick. And then they're going to the doctors, they're doing this, they're doing that. But my point is that when you look at your life in the 80-20 rule again, 80% of the time you're doing something that you love to do. If you love to, whatever your hobbies are, your passions, what you like to read, and fill yourself up with these great things. All of you, I watched you guys when you went out there. You just kind of stood up taller, and you got down closer to look at something closely, and there was this exchange of energy between you and nature, and even each other. It was kind of unspoken, but when you came back in, everybody was happy and you know, peaceful. It was a much different feeling than when we all started here an hour and a half ago. And I watched, my observation, the baby horse that was over there was feeding off of all of your energy, that all of you guys that were out here, because when you guys were all coming back in, he went to the fence and he just watched until the last person came. And then he just stood there like, where are you guys going? What's that? Yeah. It was actually the little brown baby that was over here by the fence. He just stood there and watched everybody as they left. Like it was sad. But there is that exchange of energy that happens wherever you are, and just in my mind, I think it's important to find those power places. The power places, the power words, the power foods.
And power places.
Power places, like for me, sitting on a rock is a power place.
Yeah.
Or going someplace in nature. You know, it used to be my grandma's living room when she was alive. That was a power place for me. So you find those things that you're going to fill up with, fill your arsenal with. And then making choices, taking your power back. How many of you have been to the doctor in the last year? A good handful? And this is, I am totally for Western medicine when it's appropriate. I think there's a great place for it. I also think there's a great place for people taking their healing powers back and realizing the potential that they have to heal themselves. You know, going back to the whole sickness and how everything relates, emotions, your mental state of mind, and your spiritual life. They all play into whatever is going to, your body will always manifest physically what is going on mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Always. 100% of the time. And so if you fix these three things, then that fourth thing should fall back into place. And a lot of times giving your power to a doctor could mean life and death in some instances, because the doctors, they have a book. They have what they've been taught to go by symptoms. These symptoms may produce this disease. And for that disease, we prescribe these medications, and when we have side effects from these medications, then we'll use this medication, or we'll use this surgery. And when that surgery doesn't work, then we'll do this surgery and these medications. And by the time you're down this tree, this disease, which